Is anyone going to talk about how these TikTok tarot readers are literally predicting our entire future? Like, is it just me? I don't really know what's happening here.
Talking to the dead, divining the future, and having psychic powers has always been a part of human history. Our first societies exalted shamans and their rituals, which were meant to connect with otherworldly spirits.
In the Middle Ages, anyone claiming to have such abilities would end up persecuted, tormented, and declared a heretical witch. Now, calling yourself a psychic could get you famous on social media, fortunate enough to own 3 Rolls Royces.
Excited to go in the Range Rover.
I've had 3, this is my 3rd one.
It's your 3rd one, bloody hell.
And the reverence necessary to start your own religion.
Today, we are looking into the world of fraudulent psychics, why they run wild on TikTok, and why their grift is so harmful.
Unlike Ariana Grande, I don't think that this person was necessarily parasitically infected later in her life. I think she was born.
I believe that on July 13th, we shifted timelines. I wasn't paying attention this time because it's been happening so many times.
Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't realize that the person I was bringing through was Bobby Christina Brown and Whitney Houston. I am in complete shock.
The person you designate in the comments is going to fall in love with you. If you want the universe to decide, put surprise me in the comments. If you're already in a relationship, your love is going to blossom even further.
Spiritual gangster. How are you doing over there? Keeping it G? Keeping it G with the G-O-D?
So in a session, somebody can come through and they can actually give me information about what's coming up on your timeline. And that could be something that's negative. Why would they do that? Well, that projection, I like to use the word projection instead of prediction, that projection you might be able to alter. So if you can shift it or change it, you can alter the future.
I've already checked into the police departments because there's so many people saying they're charging me with fraud. What I'm doing is not a sign of fraud.
Welcome to the Clown Town. I'm Gus.
I'm Val. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate that you're here. Whether you're new, you just started joining us recently, or you're an old-time clown, we appreciate it and thank you for stopping by.
So today's video is a bit of a doozy, folks. We are talking about TikTok psychics, and now, while this may seem like it is a very simple topic, as we found out when we started planning this video months ago, it is not. Strap in and strap on, everybody.
Long story short, it took a very long time for us to explain how psychics are viewed specifically in the United States, the reason why it's become so easy to call yourself a psychic in the United States, because that's something that I didn't understand.
Another thing we were interested in is we wanted to look into some alternative reasons to why someone would call themselves a psychic, or someone might believe they're a psychic, or maybe might believe in someone else's psychic powers. We feel like all of those things could have an effect on why someone might be successful as a psychic, or someone might believe it, etc.
The disclaimer that we want to make is that we don't 100% believe that every single person who calls themselves a psychic is a grifter, charlatan, scammer. We personally believe there might be a very small percentage of people, maybe, who have these abilities. And I think a good portion of them are misattributing what they are seeing and calling it psychic phenomena or other kind of otherworldly phenomenon. And we're going to explain that a little bit more later.
There are some indigenous practices that involve what could be considered mediumship by way of a shaman. We want to be clear and say that we are not discussing that in this video, and we have no problems with the practices of those religions. There are several anthropological studies that show that shamans play pivotal roles in maintaining the social health of these societies, and we do not want to lump them in with people like Sylvia Browne and Peter Popoff.
And just to be 100% clear, we are not claiming that every single person who calls themselves a psychic or a medium is a fraudulent liar trying to take money from your grandmother. All that we want to do is encourage critical thinking in a time when these claims are on the rise with not a lot of pushback.
I think with all of our content that we make on the internet, we just try to encourage critical thinking. Encouraging critical thinking is like the main point of our channel, I feel like. You can believe psychics are real if you want. That is not the point of this video. You do whatever you want. If you believe in them at the end of this, great, wonderful. Just do your research. That's all we're asking.
At one point in the video, we are going to be reacting to some specific psychics that are on TikTok, and we are going to be explaining why we believe that what they're doing is harmful. Again, we're not trying to point at them and be like, these people are grifters, but at the end of the day, we're going to explain why what they're doing is wrong, and you can agree or disagree in the comments below. All right, I think it's time for our disembodied voices to take it away for a little bit. See you later. Hope you enjoy the video.
See you later, folks.
Get a snack if you haven't.
Maybe take your meds, water, all that. All right, bye.
Content warning. Flashing lights, pregnancy and infertility, conspiracy theories, grief and loss, romantic delusion, tragic news stories, the Gabby Petito story. People have every right to be skeptical of the wild claims made by psychics. After all, extraordinary claims should not only have equally extraordinary levels of proof to support them, they shouldn't be completely intrinsically impossible. On Quackwatch, Ed J. Grasselli states that the strength of a conclusion is a function of both the quality of evidence provided in its support and the probability of such a claim to be supported.
Not only do the claims of most psychics have little to no scientific evidence in their support, they are usually beyond what is physically possible.
Now, there are lower vibrational entities out there, but what if you didn't have to worry about a demon, but instead you had to worry about the spirit of your father?
There is, however, plenty of evidence to show that many so-called psychics have made completely inaccurate predictions.
This is a self-proclaimed TikTok psychic, and what she did on TikTok will change her life forever, because on November of 2022, a massive tragedy happened involving students from the University of Idaho. This became our TikTok psychic's moment to essentially ruin her own life. How? Well, by falsely accusing a professor, claiming that she had an affair with one of these students and was behind the tragedy.
I have physical evidence against Rebecca Schofield that validates everything that I've said about her, but I can't speak on it now because it has to wait for court. I think that's how y'all want me to feel about a measly ass $75,000 lawsuit that I'm gonna win. Oh my God. Rebecca is suing me.
The court just deemed all this to be slander, and she's essentially lost everything in court.
Harry Houdini devoted the latter half of his life to exposing famous psychics.
Peter Popoff was exposed on the Johnny Carson show.
I'm talking to you. Can you hear me? If you can't, you're in trouble.
You see, Popoff's wife, Elizabeth, had previously gotten personal information from people in the audience and then fed it to her husband electronically through a tiny earpiece.
Jody Dean.
Jody Dean? Jody Dean?
No, she should be right there on your right side.
Several television shows, documentaries, and news segments have been devoted to sting operations that reveal the psychics' tricks for the farce they really are.
So you'll always know when you talk to a family member, when you start a case, you'll know if this person is dead or alive.
And that's the point, is that
every time.
Yes.
But apparently her psychic abilities didn't see this coming.
Lori, I'm going to show you something.
Okay. Yes.
Does this girl look familiar to you?
Yes, she does. I worked this case.
This is a girl who you said was beaten and killed.
Okay.
This little girl is me. And you told somebody that she's...
Wait a minute. You didn't disappear?
I'm right here.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Despite this, psychics' claim to power are enough for desperate people to hand over their money to them, often in large sums.
People are going through a very difficult time in their life, and they're very vulnerable.
People like Deborah Sawfield, who forked over $27,000 to New York City psychic Sylvia Mitchell.
Psychic who pleaded guilty to stealing $340,000 from people through scams.
The amount of money that we're talking about is astronomical.
How astronomical? In one case, try $900,000.
I actually had a client a couple months ago who spent like his life savings because some lady had told him that he had a dark curse over him.
She further pledged to lift a curse that was the source of pain and misfortune. All of that did come with a pretty steep price for the client, to the tune of $3.2 million.
Isolate the victim from friends and family, create a siege mentality, create a sense of dependency, exacerbate the victim's existing fears, okay? Create a pseudo world, their own world, keep the victim in the dark about what's going on. These are the same kind of psychological principles that a cult leader uses to keep his members of the cult in line. And the psychic just does the same psychological principles, but on a one-on-one basis.
Sylvia Browne claimed to have a success rate that was between 87 and 90%.
I lost my brother. He just disappeared. We've not seen him for like 26 years. We don't know if he's
gone.
Is he? We couldn't find him. I know I went through.
No, you can't.
Everywhere. He is gone.
Polio, whooping cough, and all that is coming back.
However, a study by the Skeptical Inquirer using her claims on the Montel show found that she was correct 0% of the time. The only time she wasn't wrong was when the case was unsolved.
The psychic twins got famous enough to find themselves on channels as big as Shane Dawson's.
There's a couple people that are in your circle that won't be next year. One guy is taking advantage of your kindness.
They claimed that they predicted 9/11.
We predicted 9/11 on that show.
We are seeing various terrorist attacks on federal government and also the New York Trade Center, the World Trade Center.
But listening a little closer to what they actually said is worthy of scrutiny.
We are seeing various terrorist attacks on federal government, federal buildings. Yeah, particularly South Carolina or Georgia.
Really?
By July 2002. And also the New York Trade Center, the World Trade Center in 2002.
Really?
With a terrorist attack.
One of the most famous examples of a psychic scam was Miss Cleo.
Your better tomorrow begins today with the wisdom of the tarot. Call me now for a free reading and find out the truth.
The creators of these ads were charged by the FTC for misleading advertising.
The 1-800 number, you would call this number and you'd be like, all right, I'm ready to talk to Miss Cleo. They're like, no, you can't talk to Miss Cleo. You gotta call this number back. And it's a 1-900 number. We all know 1-900 numbers you have to pay for. So you would call back and they would still say you get your free first 3 minutes. First thing they would do was keep you on the phone as long as possible. Let's keep you on the phone longer than 3 minutes and start charging you $4.95 a minute. They keep you on the phone. They're getting your name, your address, your phone number, your credit card info, all of this stuff they're trying to get from you on the phone. But they're starting to send you direct mailers after that. And it's stuff that says urgent. Miss Cleo has urgent news for you. You must call in right now. So when you call, you start thinking, oh my God, I gotta call right now. And you call up this 1-900 number and they're just like, all right, let's ask, how are you feeling today? And they just slowly kind of draw you out in the call. And sometimes they would even refuse to stop the reading. If you're like, hey man, let's speed it up. They'd be like, no, you have to wait for the spirits to come in.
I feel it's gonna take another 15 minutes for the spirits to really get going here.
Even the origin of how we view psychics in the modern age comes from a foundation of lies. The modern spiritualism movement was born from two young sisters in the 1800s who claimed they could communicate with the spirits who were causing disturbing loud sounds in their house. The truth was that the girls were able to make these sounds by moving their feet in a way that was imperceptible.
Despite ample proof that the girls' seances were not simply displays of communication with the dead, and later a confession from one of the sisters about their foot cracking method, the movement exploded and became international. One of its most well-known proponents was the writer of Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Without this movement, it's likely we wouldn't have the same level of societal acceptance towards the idea of psychics and mediumship as we do today. After all, it wasn't that long ago that people were being burned at the stake for making these kind of claims. And in the modern era, several people have gotten incredibly famous from becoming psychics.
Celebrities like Vanessa Williams and Billy Ray Cyrus come to Kim Russo believing she can speak to the dead.
There's something freakishly going on in here.
As a medium, my life is defined by moments of trying to help people find a sense of peace.
Sylvia Browne was just one example of psychics who go on television to display their incredible powers.
Well, I'm a medium, and so I connect to people's loved ones. So is that something you believe in?
It's not something that I would seek out.
All right.
And I feel some arthritis, by the way. There's a lot of arthritis, and there's a bone problem. There's also something with the back. So I don't know if she used to sit and have a pillow with the back of her, or is that you?
No.
No? That doesn't make sense to you? Okay, and what about trouble with the legs?
No.
Okay, who has trouble with the legs now?
Well, my father's had 2 hip replacements.
2 hip replacements. He cannot walk as well as he used to.
Oh, no, he walks very well.
Okay.
And I want to talk about the mother energy that has departed for you. If your mother isn't departed, it could be your grandmother, mother-in-law.
It's not my mother.
Where does the mother come in? Where does the mother figure come in, though? I know that's not who you want to connect with.
No, my mother's still with me.
That's fine. I know that. So where does the grandmother come in?
There are 2 main methods that psychics use to make their incredible claims, and that skeptics try to catch them doing. One is cold reading, where you use cues like body language, clothing, age, and others to make high probability guesses. It's basically what Sherlock Holmes does.
There's a younger male energy in this section that makes me feel like this would be son, nephew, grandson. There is a Cancer connection that comes up here. Does this make sense? Where's Robert, Robbie, Rob? Where's the R? Robert?
My father.
Past?
Yes.
Okay. Cancer?
No.
Where's the bone issue?
There's 2. There's my grandfather and his mom.
Somebody had something that affected their bone.
His mom.
She had bone cancer. So your mom had the bone cancer?
Yes.
Okay, and passed from that?
Yes.
She's making me feel like when she passes either around or on a governmental holiday, or something that would be celebratory, but for the country.
My father.
I'm seeing the American flag. So when I see the flag,
My father.
yeah, when I see that, it lets me know that we're talking about like either July
September 11th.
Yeah, it's July 4th, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Did he pass in the September 11th?
Yes.
I'm sensing an A. Does your name begin with an A? No. A B? No. C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Peter! My name's Peter! Is your name Peter? Wow, you are some kind of sorcerer.
There's a few ways this is done on social media to garner attention to their account. The first is posting lots of vague and general statements at once, hoping that one will catch on.
Lots of these accounts will also say that interacting with the post will, quote, make their prediction more likely to come true.
The other is claiming that the message you are about to receive is meant for you if it shows up on your page, only for the message to be something general that could apply to a wide audience.
Hi, if you're seeing this message is for you. I feel that you're in a situation that your partner has ghosted you. You're not hearing.
And if this video landed on your For You page, then I have a message for you.
Both types of posts are filled with comments of people saying the reading truly resonated with them. A psychological phenomena that can explain the popularity of these posts is called the Barnum effect, where people tend to accept vague, general personality descriptions as uniquely applicable to themselves. There's a lot of good research to validate how this phenomena can impact people's thinking.
The other method psychics use is hot reading, and it's more difficult to catch people doing.
You hear one piece of information that you know couldn't be guessed, couldn't be Googled, something known only between you and the person that passed. That makes for a life-changing experience.
Then a hot read is whenever they have some kind of information, and there's tons of ways they can get information. One of the common statements I hear all the time is, there's no way they could have known that. It's like, oh my gosh, I could tell you so many ways they could have known that.
They will use several methods to figure out details of people's lives. They comb through the internet for information.
She has another sister. What's your other sister's name?
Give me a minute, okay? Diane. Is it?
It is.
I was surprised that she got the names right.
That's what she said.
But on a hunch, I decided to Google myself, and there it was. My mom's obituary. In it, Aunt Diane's name, among other details.
They have someone listen to the conversations in the audience beforehand, amongst others.
Is it just a connection, or are you wanting a connection to a certain person? Whoever comes through, perfect. Okay. So Karen, sweetheart, I'm very sorry for your loss of your husband. It was either fiance or husband. From what I'm seeing, the shadow and the soul that I'm feeling is maybe he was around anywhere between the ages of 30, maybe 40. Not very old. His words exactly, sweetheart, you're going to get through this. You are the best mother ever to our 2 children. You've always been a healer. Camping, sing camping.
Please tell me y'all remember this show. It was short-lived. I think it was like 1 season, maybe 2. Because he would come into these celebrities' homes and be in contact with that celebrity's close death person ghost. He literally, I remember there was an episode, he was doing like a read on Little Kim. Literally his read was like, I'm just hearing like a, I love it when you call me Big Papa. Someone who was in a rivalry with opposing coasts, with another celebrity. Does this sound familiar to you, Kimberly? And Lil' Kim would be like, oh my God, you must be talking about Biggie. Like, it was so like, yo.
A few skeptics have caught some of these famous psychics using hot reading techniques.
So I explained you're going to create these pages and you're going to interact with each other for about 10 days. And during that 10 days, you're going to create a lot of different characters. 2 of the characters are going to go to the psychic event. One is going to be myself and one of them is going to be Mark Edward. I said, you are going to create a backstory that I won't know anything about.
The idea was if the psychic took that bait, then that would show conclusively that they used a Facebook, because we didn't even know what he was talking about.
I purchased the VIP tickets, so we're in the very front of the audience. I'm getting a brother who wants to reach out to his twin. I tentatively raised my hand, I'm really nervous.
Who's Andy?
That's my brother.
That's your brother. I feel like you and Andy, I feel like you always kind of share this energy between you where you could kind of like hear each other's thoughts and things like that. Somebody's making me aware of cancer. Is this your brother? Did he have cancer? And I get in here, which to me would show me stomach or pancreas. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Maria. Do you know who that is? Because he's bringing up Maria. And Buddy? Who's that?
These skeptics have not successfully convinced the public about the quackery of psychics, specifically the American public.
During your reading, Maureen Flynn tried these names, and they are on the tape of the reading that you're referring to. Alan, Alfred, Alice, Anne, Bill, Charlie.
Much later.
Sydney, Stanley, Sid, and Steve. That's 37 names, and she also asked you if you could connect with any name beginning with an N or an L, and you could not do so.
According to a 2005 Gallup poll, 3 in 4 Americans believe in the paranormal. The most popular is extrasensory perception, followed by belief in haunted houses and ghosts and spirits that return from the dead.
There are several reasons why people maintain conviction in psychic phenomenon despite ample evidence. One of these being confirmation bias.
Studies show that our brains have an easier time accepting information that agrees with what they already know, rather than taking in evidence that is contradictory. People who already believe in psychic phenomenon view psychic claims as further proof of its existence.
Right out of context. I'm sorry? Right out of context. We have a transcript of it right here, sir, and you may have that transcript to refer to it, and the names, I think, are outlined there.
Another cause of psychic conviction could be what psychologists call motivated reasoning. The idea that your mind accepts beliefs that align with your personal goals, what you want to believe, rather than reliable evidence and reasoning. Someone who desperately wants to hear from a loved one might ignore the signs that this psychic may be a charlatan in order to get some personal peace.
There are several thinking errors, such as the clustering illusion and the bandwagon effect, as well as hundreds of cognitive biases that can contribute to how people may see psychics and how psychics see themselves.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those ascension symptoms that you may be experiencing at a phase 2 or a phase 3.
We think this is why a lot of people who call themselves psychics are not necessarily charlatans trying to con people. They have convinced themselves, through their own perception of their lives, others' lives, and the world in general, that they have abilities that humans really shouldn't possess. Their biases of the world continue to confirm their beliefs despite any proof of the contrary.
And this is how spirit got me to get my anxiety under control.
Scientific research on psychics also does not start with the assumption that they're lying. Instead, hypotheses can usually fall under 3 strands.
Psychic beliefs develop because believers feel the need for control in their own lives.
You want to be able to communicate with somebody you love, somebody you care about.
Psychic beliefs are real and exist because of lived experience.
The misattribution theory, which posits that people misattribute paranormal causation to regular experiences.
We tend to believe that the misattribution theory makes the most sense. Our brains are incredibly creative and capable of creating false images that seem completely real. Anyone who has experienced hallucinations during sleep paralysis knows this very well.
Sometimes the brain can get confused between the deep dreaming state and waking, a period of time when our body shuts down to protect us from acting out our dreams. While in this state of paralysis, the brain creates hallucinations, usually visual, that you normally only see in your sleep.
For the person that experiences it, these do not feel like hallucinations, and we can easily see how someone could misattribute this psychological phenomena to a paranormal one.
When you think about the stories of alien abductions, none of them typically happen during the day. Normally, the story goes as follows. I was asleep. There was a sense of something in my room. There was a being. They'd injected a paralyzing agent into me. So I couldn't shout. I couldn't fight back. I couldn't move. This is what we think of as sleep paralysis. And it seems to adequately explain most of those stories of alien abductions.
A vast study on this parses out 5 different kinds of illusion that could be misattributed to psychic experience. The authors of this study believe that, like visual illusions, they are the price we pay for a generally effective relationship with a massively complex world.
The first is the illusion of connection. Sometimes this can show up as treating connected events as evidence of the paranormal rather than seeing the more down-to-earth explanation. We believe that this category includes people who experience hypnagogic hallucinations and see them as paranormal encounters.
This can be seen as people treating events as connected to seek explanations when no such explanation is required. Another phrase for this is the illusion of causality, which takes place when people develop the belief there is a causal connection between 2 events that are actually unrelated.
Humans love to detect patterns, and it's easy for us to make connections when they don't need to be made. Sometimes events that are coincidental coincide, and even the rational part of us has a hard time ignoring the connection.
As an example, your favorite sports team might lose the game just as you go to the kitchen for a moment. Even if you know logically that your team didn't lose because of you, feeling as if you were somewhat responsible for that failure can be hard to avoid.
The next is the illusion of control. Sometimes a coincidence will take place between someone's actions and an external event, and the individual will assume that the cause was their control and actions.
The third illusion is of pattern and randomness. People will sometimes see patterns that are not necessarily there or do not necessarily correlate in any meaningful way.
The study showed that the tendency to see patterns that aren't there will make people search for a cause, and that since there is no cause, they may turn to paranormal explanations.
The next is the illusion of form, seeing something when nothing is present. A study confirmed that paranormal believers are more likely to claim to see identifiable forms in ambiguous stimuli.
Meaning that paranormal believers are more likely to see something that isn't actually there. Last is illusions of memory. Studies have shown that people's memories may conform to make their predictions seem more accurate than they actually were, by misremembering their previous predictions.
Others have shown that people have a tendency to mix up the order of events. remembering that they first made the prediction and then it came true, when the reality is sometimes the other way around.
Overall, we hope that this section is enlightening for both believers and skeptics alike. For the believers, we hope that you can potentially think of alternative explanations for at least some of the experiences that you've had that convince you of the paranormal. On the other side, we hope that the skeptics out there who believe that all psychics are lying grifters can consider an alternative perspective.
You could spend your entire day scrolling through psychics on TikTok. There are so many so-called psychics who do readings while live streaming and pitch their other services.
We're doing love and obsession, communication, and we're also going to remove all toxic energy and like stubborn energy.
Do you want to do it, dear? Yes or no? I'm willing to give you a discount because I know there's a lot that's happening to you right now, and there's so much more that I need to tell you privately, and that's gonna come with it.
You do have to be following me and liking the live to get your yes and no question.
This is a terrible negative energy. If you're open to getting a candle, you definitely need one because this is a big blockage in your relationship.
Yes or no? This is a one-time special.
They post videos for the general public and find different ways to make the readings feel more personal to those who come across them. They use tarot cards, dowsing rods, automatic writing, and other occult practices to acquire their visions.
They left you with many burdens, and they're about to be exposed for everything.
For Shelby to quit her job comfortably, will that happen before the end of the year? No. Will it happen in 2025? Yes. Would it be before March of 2025? Yes.
Have to be patient through this process. If you're not going to be patient, unfortunately, I cannot provide you with anything I'm doing here because you need to stay patient.
Our disembodied voices will now be put into corporeal form to look a little deeper at the psychics of social media.
Hello, everybody. We are no longer in the ethereal, omnipotent form. We are back in our meat suits here for you today.
I am no longer simply a dismembered voice. You are welcome.
Welcome.
Hi.
To this space.
This physical space that we are all gathered in the same energy. We lie.
What? Welcome to the reaction portion of the video. We have a lot to talk about today because there are a lot of TikTok psychics in particular. And honestly, I think a lot of the tactics that are being used here are very predatory. They prey on people's fears. And I think they go against what somebody who supposedly has this much sensitivity should stand for.
That's what we think. We don't think that psychic ability doesn't necessarily exist, all of that stuff, yada yada. We are two woo-woo bitches ourselves. We do like a bit of the woo-woo here and there. However, it just doesn't make sense to us that someone that has so much sense for other people's emotions, other people's feelings, other people's futures, etc. would be doing things like we're about to look at right now.
Later, we're going to be going into some particular psychics and their tactics and what they do that we believe is wrong. But first, we're going to go into some more general videos that don't touch on anybody in particular and talk about what we think about them.
222 butterfly emoji.
Yeah. And note the tone of this.
Like the music, the tone of voice. Tune into the vibrations, if you will.
You are not doing well, be careful. This had to find you before Tuesday.
Oh no, it's Thursday! We're kinda meant to freak you out a little bit.
Kinda? Girl, this is like a damn horror movie.
It's creepy. Also, a lot of the people that do this on TikTok are trying to advertise their services outside of TikTok. And so there's an example. Message that phone number for the full reading. So this is only a portion of it. And it's meant to freak you out enough where you're willing to pay for the full reading, in my opinion.
That's what it seems like. I mean, I don't know, like if you're really a psychic, you'd know exactly who the message was for and just message them. But what the fuck do I know? Anyway.
You have a person very close to you who's been wishing for a long time for your downfall. They speak badly of you, envy your relationship, and watching you from a distance. They've been doing a hex. This explains the unexpected stomach pains and sleepless nights.
I am the reason for Val's chronic pain. No need to go to the doctors anymore.
You hexed me. Yeah, this is trying to freak you out.
Like,
that's what I think anyway.
I feel like, how would you like know that it's gonna get to the right person when the TikTok algorithm is so wild? I feel like they would totally just use the excuse of like, oh, but I'm psychic and I know everything. I know it's gonna get to the right person. But like,
those cards also would not necessarily match up with that vibe, I feel. The Ten of Cups is right there, and that's one of the happiest cards in the entire tarot.
If I may, it's hard to see behind the writing, but there's two little kids doing a dance, and there's adults putting their hands to the sun being like, yippee!
And there's also a giant rainbow. Like, it's a very happy card. That's one thing about tarot cards. I really don't feel like you have to be psychic to look at them and to get some kind of meaning from them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's inherently a psychic thing.
No.
But for somebody who maybe is not necessarily looking at the cards, they might not pick up on that, and they might be too focused on the fear.
Well, because my thing is, they're not showing the cards really. She's flipping through them. They're mostly behind like text.
So it's hard to see anyway.
So it's hard to see. So like, if you don't know anything about tarot and you just read that, and also this person says they're a psychic, you should want to trust what they're saying about tarot. I don't call myself a psychic, but I did study tarot for some years. I still do it a little bit here and there. I know enough to know that if that 10 of Cups is in that reading, I don't know if I would get a hex and you're doing really bad and someone's preying on your downfall. I mean, Chariot, isn't that usually like moving forward boldly? You're a man with a plan.
It doesn't necessarily mean like yippee, wahoo, but it usually is not connoted with things that are like horrible and awful like the ones that she's saying here.
Okay, one thing I do like about tarot, I don't think any card is necessarily good or bad. I think it all has to do with interpretation and situations. But there are cards in the tarot that bring about a more of a heavy vibe, a la the Tower, that would fit this reading a lot better.
The Swords. Not the Cups,
like
and
the cups
Chariot.
and the Chariot just really don't fit the vibe of the reading they're giving. So that just makes me think they just flipped through the cards and whatever came up, came up. I'm sorry, I can't see how that wouldn't be what happened, because as far as tarot goes, this reading makes no damn sense.
Yeah.
If you got that, you sure as hell did not get it from those cards.
So just to recap, you're not doing well, be careful. There's someone that's close to you that's trying to hex you and that's doing bad things to you. So that's part one. Okay? I scrolled a little bit more through this person's account just kind of to see the vibes, just to see a little bit more of what they do. I was very interested to see what I found.
You are not doing well, be careful. This had to find you before. Tuesday. You have a person very close to you who's been wishing for a long time for your downfall. They speak badly of you, envy your relationship, and watching you from a distance.
Word for word, bar for bar.
Bar for bar. The only thing that isn't bar for bar is the cards. Which, if the reading is exactly the same, one would assume that the cards would probably be the same. No, oh, but what the hell do I know? I just don't know anything. I'm not tapped into collective consciousness or whatever the hell. I'm sorry, this angers me.
Because this is clearly a scam. In my opinion, this makes it so much more obvious that it's a scam.
Also, this is not isolated. It is not just this account doing this. We've seen so many examples of accounts like this just posting the same reading with different cards on different days, saying the exact same stuff, just recycling, because they're just trying to hook you and get you to use their services.
And again, we don't believe this about every single psychic on the planet.
No.
But there are a lot of them on social media especially. And they use some very predatory tactics.
I just feel like if you're meeting your psychic on Instagram or TikTok, you should just automatically be more careful. I'm not saying that the little shops on the side of the road can't scam you, but I feel like people are a lot less likely to like set up a storefront to scam than start a TikTok account. It's a lot easier to start a TikTok account.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
Right? Like,
This is another big genre of psychic TikToks, is people trying to say, this is a sign that you are psychic. Yeah, you at home. You there. You.
I want you to figure out that you're psychic, to know that you're psychic, and to stop denying your psychic abilities.
You're already psychic, and here's how to unlock.
But June is really good because it's a really good spiritual upgrade month. It's really good for you to start coming into your special abilities and special powers.
So here's an example of that we're going to talk about.
Wow. You know, the one thing I don't think she lied about in this video is that this will blow your mind.
This will blow your mind, baby.
My mind was blown, but not for the reasons she thinks.
Do you have conversations in your head? Do you talk to yourself? Do you walk round about the supermarket talking to yourself? I do, and it's getting worse. But the best thing is, do you answer yourself as well? So if you've got this conversation going on in your head, do you get the answers? Now, I want you to write in the comments, because you're going to be surprised at what this is. But before I tell you, I will never message you asking you if you want a reading. That's the scammers blocking reportment, and the only way to get in touch with me is through that profile. And you'll find my website, and you can contact me through my website.
Yeah, of course, because you gotta plug the website before you tell me the point of the video.
Very common.
So if you talk to yourself and you're answering yourself in your head, then you're a medium. Because you're talking to spirit and they're answering you.
No, I'm sorry.
Bestie, that's called thinking. That is called problem solving.
That is cognitive function. Like, I can't.
I wanted to show this example because while, God, maybe it isn't to you, at least to me, this is very clearly fucking fake. That's thinking, babes. However, I wanted to caveat this by saying there's a lot of these types of videos of people being like, oh, if you have a little X on your palm, that means you have psychic ability.
Signs you're a psychic medium and you might not even know it. Number one, when you were a kid, you always felt like you didn't fit in.
So you can see mine right there. If you have that X, honey, you're psychic.
3 signs that mean you might be psychic. 1, déjà vu.
Alright, that's a sign that you are a healer and you've got a special healing ability. But you are also here on Earth, this time round, to heal yourself at the same time.
So you're telepathic, and I know you are. So let's do a test. 1 through 12. What number am I thinking of?
You feel as though you're being watched. Maybe not all of the time, but every now and then you just think, oh, there's someone behind me. This feels weird. You are actually picking up on spirit that's around you.
Sign number 4, you can hear ringing in the ears. A lot of the times this means that your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors are trying to get your attention.
While that does also still sound silly, it's less wild than like, oh, you think you're a psychic. And I just wanted to put this to show. Both of them are basically trying to do the same thing. Both of them are trying to get you to think that you have abilities that other people don't have so that you look into their content to then hone those abilities.
Awareness is truly key to unlocking, managing, and strengthening your psychic abilities. So today I'm going to teach you how to unlock and strengthen yours with a part of my hyper-awareness strategy that is meant to help you tap into and strengthen your psychic ability.
Bingo.
Whether or not what they're saying is as loopy as what this is, in my opinion, I think it's all the same. I think it's all for the same thing.
I agree.
I just thought this example was pretty damn funny. I'm sorry.
I have to believe that she knows that this is not true, and I will move forward with that assumption. If you don't believe that, then feel free to let us know in the comments. Another example of using tarot incorrectly to try to convince people to buy your readings or look into your account further, he has to make a choice between you and the third party. Now, this is the Hermit card, and the Hermit card really talks about just like figuring out what you want for yourself. And sometimes that really takes even like a physical isolation. That's not always what it means. But in a lot of cases, that's what that means. So, like, why would it be a choice between me and a third party?
It's giving, like, he has to make a choice between you and the third party.
Yes.
It's very much like, oh, we're in the villa and you're gonna get dumped if he doesn't pick you.
There's a lot of videos that are encouraging people, honestly, to be delusional about their relationships.
Oh my god, dude, it scares me. There were so many. It would be like and comment on this video and he'll text you in an hour.
Yes.
And the man of your dreams will text you in an hour.
Yes.
Or the man that you've been thinking of will text you in an
Yes.
hour. I haven't seen as many of, like, oh, the girl of your dreams as far as, like, the metaphysical stuff goes.
Usually it's all, like, towards women. Like, the guy is gonna pick.
That's what I've seen. I'm not saying the other doesn't exist. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it seems to be like, oh, he's picking between, or like, oh, he will text you, or I don't know.
Like,
I don't want for the gays.
No. And there's some that are like, oh, he is ignoring you because he actually really likes you. And it's like, sometimes he's just ignoring you because he's ignoring you.
No, bestie, I got some of those when I first broke up with my ex, and they made me a little delulu.
Someone has been thinking about reaching out to you. It could be a new person or someone from past, and many of you can feel this person is thinking about you.
Your avoidant ex that walked away from you is coming to the conclusion that they only want to be with you.
Likely make his official girlfriend by the end of the month and showing me a yes. Does Antonio really want to be with me? That is a yes.
Is Santiago missing me? I'm getting a yes to see this person is very strongly thinking about you, dreaming about you, wondering about you. They are missing you very powerfully.
But I am picking up on a twin flame. I feel like at a certain point in time, you both were trying to move on from this relationship, but it's just, you guys can't. It's like you guys keep running back to each other.
Did you know that when someone is thinking of you, it actually creates a really strong energetic transmission that you can pick up on psychically? Here are 3 psychic signs that someone is thinking of you. Number 1, you think of them out of the blue.
He's coming back. This distance has been tough for both of you, but it is about to come to an end.
Not thinking critically about your relationships because people on TikTok are telling you, no, he actually really likes you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't blame young people for falling into that. I can blame the people who are posting these things, knowing that it's gonna get out to people who are in a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but there's a lot of accounts who will basically just post like laundry lists worth of their quote-unquote psychic predictions. And to me, this looks more like trying to cast a very wide net rather than you actually making a bunch of real predictions and putting them all out at once.
To me, it just looks like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and just seeing what sticks. It's basically things like, if their name starts with one of these initials, they're thinking about you and want you back, and then they put like half of the letters of the alphabet.
Don't drink coffee tomorrow if you're a Virgo.
Oh, that Libra that keeps teasing you really likes you. Just a bunch of stuff that is so widespread, could apply to so many situations, is not specific at all, but you see that and you're like, whoa, that could be about me. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to buy into their message so that you, at the very least, look at their page, in my opinion.
Just remember that a lot of the people that are scrolling through TikTok are young, are maybe 13, 14, unfortunately. And they really do not have the critical reasoning skills that we adults do.
Also, when I was about 18, I was in heartbreak, I was not having a good time, and I was doom scrolling on TikTok. Now, when you're sad, I just feel like the algorithm picks up on it, and it took me there. And it made me so delusional about things that I did not need to be delusional about. It made me basically see things that weren't there.
The person that you are interested is not with you at the moment. He's not talking to you. This energy is only temporary. He will come back.
Your ex is thinking about you, and I see that he cannot let you go.
And I feel like there is a huge transformation happening within them where they're finally ready to kind of level up and really aim forward with this connection be able to open up towards you.
They regret walking away. They regret the things that they said. They regret the things that they done. At the time when those things was said and done, they were very overwhelmed. They were in a different headspace. They were just not themselves.
The reason why they're so distant from you is because they've never experienced feelings like how they have for you.
I got rid of the damn app because of it. I'm like, dude, this is making me see things that don't exist. I cannot do this. That happened to me at a later age than 14 or 15. If you're in a vulnerable position, whether it's because you're young, whether it's because you're heartbroken, for whatever reason, this stuff can really get you.
This is the lowest of the low in terms of things that TikTok psychics do. They will claim to make predictions about tragedies that are capturing a lot of people's attention. And it's really disgusting. If they actually thought that they had real information, they could have taken that information to the police. They could have put it in the anonymous FBI hotline. But no, they wanted to get people to see their account.
And the thing is, with these things, it's always after the event happens where they're like, see, I told you so. I told you guys this was going to happen, instead of like them actually trying to get the message out as a prevention thing before it happens. It's not about helping people, in my opinion, for most of these people. It's about, oh, I was right.
Now, Miss Tyler Henry, I would just like to understand in what world you thought this would ever be okay or appropriate. There's something gross about this. I don't know. Let Whitney and Bobby rest in peace.
Wade Wilson, psychic reading.
What they're showing me in my head is the night of the disappearance. So I want to focus in on the night of the disappearance.
Little John Bonet came through, but with a very clean face, like a normal 6-year-old, like anybody's 6-year-old baby. And she came through like that, and I could really see her personality. She was a prankster, she was mischievous, she was curious.
I am a true crime medium, and I did psychic investigation work into the Idaho 4. I want to share with you what I brought through in my psychic investigation.
I visited the house of the Menendez brothers in Beverly Hills, California. Being a psychic medium, I felt so much energy.
Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a psychic reading today on the bridge that tragically collapsed in Baltimore.
And this is the key reason why we wanted to talk about the next two psychics that we wanted to talk about. Both of them claimed to have channeled Gabby Petito when her name was popping up all over the headlines because of her tragic story.
Honestly, we think this is as disgusting as it gets, and sadly, there are so many more examples than just what we're talking about today. Because look, whether they know things about the case or not, whether they see quote-unquote things that we don't see, the thing to do with that is not go on the internet and tell everybody. The thing to do with that is actually go to the people handling the situation and try to help. It is taking attention away from what is important, which is the victim and the victim's family and getting justice for them.
Or the victims, or whatever the case may be.
I just feel like it's like, hey, look at me, I said this was gonna happen, see? Like, okay, whether you did or not, that's not good.
Or this is someone who is no longer here. I communicated with them and this is what they said. Like, why do you have to tell everybody? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Everybody. Oh no.
Oh.
Thank God you're here.
Oh.
I had to go through so many dimensions to find you.
So many. So many. My corporeal form is tired. I'm kidding. So, that's literally what this person's gonna say in this video. But before we do that, we need to introduce them, right? So, I think if you went through their TikTok account normally, you probably would think like, this is interesting, maybe even a little weird, but like not necessarily harmful, right?
You're the one. You're the one. God told me about you. You're the one. You're the one in the family. You're chosen.
Oh, hi. You live in this dimension too? That's crazy. You know how many alternate dimensions they are?
Hi. I was sent to give you a blessing. My name is Indy108, and if you consent, just stop scrolling. I'm gonna have you breathe in and breathe
see. Who's this message for? It's for the people that are free thinkers. Are you a free soul? Say I'm a free soul, Indy.
For the most part, I don't think they're harming anybody. However, like we mentioned earlier, they have claimed to channel Gabby Petito before. So, like, massive red flag that just is forever gonna make me side-eye somebody.
They use a lot of these videos to be like, oh, this song is what's gonna heal your inner child and send you on an interdimensional journey for love and affection. It's just their little SoundCloud mix. Now, I'm not trying to shame people for making music. You're allowed to make bad music. That's your right. However, I think using like the spiritual stuff to be like, oh, well, this is the perfect vibration to make you heal. When a person is vulnerable, it's just not cute. Like, something about that just feels weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being like, play this song at your next gathering, or this is the perfect song for you to vibe to, right? Because that's one thing. But I feel like some of her stuff is like, this will help you be a more spiritual person. This will help you get into the next phase of your life. And it's like, no, I think it's just sounds.
Yeah, there's a difference between saying like, oh, best song to smoke a cigarette to versus like, oh, this is gonna change your life and make you the person that you've always wanted to be. Like, that just, I feel like that's just a bit much, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't set a vibe for your song, but this just feels a bit like you're trying to get vulnerable people to listen to your stuff. I don't know if that's the intention behind it, but that's what I'm getting from it.
From a skeptical point of view, somebody who feels like they're having a hard time with their spiritual journey might see this and be like, life hack, and that's just not a good way to go about it, even if that's not their intention. The other thing that I think is wrong with their account is that they promote a lot of new agey ideas that I think are harmful and conspiratorial.
Excuse me, are you from this timeline? You see, I've been merging with multiple timelines at once. It's about to be the 7/7 portal, and you know I like to boss you around on portal day. Here in Sedona, Arizona, I go out at night and I look up in that sky. You know what I see? About 8 or 9, about 10, one of them UFO ships. What do y'all call them?
The fact is, if you are in true and utter devotion to God, to Krishna, to the universe, to Christ, to source, whatever you want to call it, your mind won't be riddled with deranged thoughts or low vibrational energy.
You see, because we are the most powerful manifestors in the entire multiverse. Anything we think, feel, breathe into existence becomes our intention and becomes our reality.
I think this video is a good example of that. So why don't we just hop in and let Indy start blabbing instead of us? No kidding.
I need to choose kindness.
Choose kindness.
I'm choosing kindness today.
Hey there, excuse me. Hi, I've just come from another dimension just to give you a little message. Listen here, nothing is as it seems.
This is like...
Can we please let them get through more than 10 seconds before you have me pause it? I beg of you.
No, I'm sorry. This is like interdimensional Willy Wonka. Please continue.
This is like if Willy Wonka owned a different kind of factory.
Everything's an illusion. You, in fact, create your own reality, my friend. This world is magic, and it's a f***ing playground, and you can have anything you want, as long as it's with, what's that guy? With no harm and good for all?
Okay, they do this thing where they'll like be talking in a video like they just did it just now. And it's like, oh, what's that god?
What was that god? Tell him you believe in them? Tell him miracles are happening on this planet right now? Absolutely anything they believe in their mind can come into the reality?
I know this is scripted, okay? Don't play.
This is not an episode of Dora.
Nothing is as it seems. Everything is an illusion. Huh, what's that god? Like, I'm trying to be nice. You're allowed to be weird. Because I feel like, I don't know, people might just come for us and be like, oh, well, they're just weird. Like, okay, yeah, they are, but that's not what we're talking about.
No.
The message is not good. I don't care if you're saying it with a basic outfit or an acid trip Willy Wonka outfit. I don't like the message either way.
Yeah. It's not a good thing to promote that you create your own reality. At the end of the day, you don't. You cannot have anything you want if it does no harm to all.
And like, okay, if the whole create your own reality, the world is a playground, you do your thing. What about the people in the global south, people are born into the socioeconomic level that they are born to, and some people are never able to get out of that, and that is not their fault. That is not because they didn't imagine hard enough.
And then that also brings up the question, if I create my own reality, if something bad happens to me, did I do that then? The people who just went through Hurricane Helena did not bring that upon themselves. But please continue, Willy Wonka.
Acid trip Willy Wonka.
What was that, Spirit? Spirit said you can have it, and guess what? Spirit's walking around all over this place. You seen him? You seen Spirit? You seen Source? You seen God? You see him in people's eyes, do you? You're recognizing Spirit in other vessels? I had to slide through about 108 dimensions to find you. You, my friend, can do anything. Don't let them fucking fool you, mate. You go get whatever you want, babes.
Is that how we sound when we switch accents halfway through what we're saying? So many layers.
So many layers.
I feel like we've already talked about some of them, and I don't need this video to be any longer than it probably already is. I don't know what the fuck to say.
It's just a lot, especially with the conspiratorial, new agey levels. If it was just like, I'm enjoying spirituality in a funky little jacket in Sedona, we would not be here talking about this. But there is a lot more to it than that, clearly.
I feel like she just tries to put a funky little bow on it so that it seems less harmful. Like, oh, silly little me, I'm just a little hobgoblin going through the dimensions and I can do whatever I want. It's love and light. Not always love and light, dude.
No.
Like, that's not how the world works.
Yeah, and sometimes people can have whatever they want, even if it does harm to others, because, you know, capital and privilege. But that's something that you will never see these accounts talking about, because it completely goes against their narrative of, I create my own reality.
Claimed to channel Gabby Petito while all of the media coverage was happening. People were looking for her. People did not know what was going on. In our opinion, she basically just used a tragedy to get attention, just as this other person did that we talked about before.
Sometimes she will claim to talk with her doll.
Today I'm going to be asking my haunted doll what the scariest thing in the spirit realm is.
Or to talk with ghosts.
So what are ghosts, and should we be afraid of them?
Okay, well, you need to leave my house, do you understand? I'm not scared of you, you're not welcome in my house.
Or to do some kind of haunted live encounter, and that's what this is in this video. It's one of those.
Also, okay, I was talking to my dolls when I was 5. That didn't make me a medium. Anyway, thank you. Like what? Just because I make my Polly Pockets kiss? Like,
there might be alternative explanations for what she is experiencing that do not make her a medium. The fact that she claimed to channel Gabby Petito makes me doubt all of this entirely. And a lot of what she does now are like horror sketches where it's obvious that it's like a sketch. That's fine. But this kind of stuff is a different story in my opinion.
We are in Mackie's haunted room where a demon is known to hang out. I cannot hear anything, that's why I'm talking so loud. I have AirPods in with these on top, and we're gonna try the Estes method, which is basically where I listen to the necrophonic app. I cannot hear Mackie at all, or I cannot see her just to lip read or anything. So I'm basically
So you're trying to sell an app.
Why do you need an app if you're a medium, is my question. Is that an inappropriate question?
Like, I guess, I don't know, like, I guess, like, some, like, spiritual people need tools and stuff, like, maybe, I guess, like, to get the certain frequency, like, that app has it, I don't know, that's probably what she's gonna say. Just looking at it at face value, what I see is she's trying to sell an app. Maybe, like, spiritualness, like, you need tools. But if she's channeling Gabby Petito, I don't know if I want to give her that much benefit of the doubt, you know? Yeah, I could if I wanted to, but I really don't know if I do.
No. And also, I feel like the app has an incentive to make you think that you're hearing a ghost. I think you have to pay for it if you want to use it. I'm pretty sure.
Of course. Why was I surprised to hear that?
I'm basically gonna be the necrophonic app, responding to Mackie as, like, the spirits talk in my ears.
The man who usually is in here, are you here right now?
Yes.
This room does not look lived in.
It looks like they filmed this in, like, an IKEA setup. I'm supposed to believe you?
Yeah, this is definitely your friend's room that she hangs out in all the time with that dog Snoot staring at her.
Why are you still here?
Don't do it.
Do what?
That. Looking
Record.
at me. Get back.
No.
That's my painting.
Which painting? The one in the garage?
The one right here. Get out.
You get out.
The lazy dog looking ass painting. You're telling me that was from the spirit of a Victorian child?
Yeah.
Like, she literally tried to, like, throw her a bone, if you will, saying, oh, the one in the garage? No. IKEA lazy dog puppy painting.
Also, if we didn't hear the app, how do we know that that wasn't just her talking? Like, the app could have been silent and she could have just been like, the Papa John's pizza, ravioli, ravioli.
Like, no, they could literally be saying whatever they want. Who knows if she even has anything in her ears? Like, because she says, like, oh, like, I can't hear anything. I have AirPods in and stuff. I'm not inclined to believe you.
This next person that we're going to be talking about does generalized fertility reading for TikTok.
Sounds like a great idea. With all the people that are on TikTok, there's just so many layers of problem.
And a lot of her videos look very similar. They all have the same vibe. And at the end of the day, they cannot apply to everybody.
One thing about this that really bothers me is that the TikTok algorithm can literally push this anywhere. It could be a 16-year-old that has just had sex for the first time, or it could be a 35-year-old woman that has been trying to have kids and hasn't been able to. It could be literally anyone that's getting this reading. There's no rhyme or reason to who is seeing it, and it's just so dangerous for that reason.
You can't just straight up say to people, congratulations, you're pregnant. The comments are full of people saying like, I'm claiming it, I really want this to be me, I'm really hoping that it's me, and that's why I think that this person does this.
It's so sad, but it does get a lot of traction. There are a lot of people that want to be the person that she is saying you are pregnant to. And I'm sure there's probably things in maybe the caption or the video that's like, oh, like to claim, interact, or send it to a friend to claim the message for yourself. For something small, that might not be so terrible, but for something as big as pregnancy, this is not okay.
And you can't tell me, oh, she's not harming people. It is harmful to say to the general public that they can get pregnant when so many people cannot get pregnant, point blank, period. Do not come in the comments and say, oh, well, these people aren't harming people, because a lot of them are with the beliefs that they're perpetuating.
Because I think on one hand, it's horrible because there's people that can't get pregnant, but also there's a lot of younger people that use that app. I'm sorry, I would be so scared if I was a little 16-year-old Gus. Just did a poom poom or something, and then I saw a thing saying I was pregnant. That would be so terrifying. There's so many reasons that make this wrong. So this next person we're talking about is Dana Barish Haynes. We know her from being in Pure Romance. As far as we're aware, she's still in it. No evidence to the contrary. But she has done a big shift in her content towards spiritual retreats. I see things, crystal ball, tap to claim, all that jazz.
Yeah.
That's her now.
Need money? I got you. Repeat this mantra 3 times a day. Wealth is my birthright. Warning, this works so fast. All your haters are just gonna disappear, and it's time for massive opportunities. It's now your turn to win big in life. Claim it below.
And she's getting a lot more traction for this content than any of her previous content, so she's sticking with it.
You feel like you're always struggling to lose weight, struggling to get the money, struggling to get a job. I know why you're struggling, and it's time to fix it. There's an open portal of infinite opportunities headed to you right now. Tell the universe you want it all by typing "I receive" in the comments. Everything I'm asking for is now on the way to me. Repeat that and be very careful what it is you asked for. This one works so fast, I just manifested myself a $10,000 check in the mail that came out of nowhere.
Does this work if I'm unemployed?
I'm sure it came out of somewhere. You forgot that you were gonna get that money. That doesn't mean that it came out of nowhere. That doesn't mean that you manifested it. That just means that you forgot about it and you got lucky.
Like, girl, did the 10K come from pure romance downlines? Did this come from a fee for one of your retreats that you're doing?
Which are very expensive.
You know, so it didn't come out of nowhere. It's not like God just grabbed the Venmo app and sent you $10,000. Like, that's not what happened.
Secret is you gotta do it 3 times a day and you gotta feel it run through your body.
Okay.
See, so if it doesn't work, you just didn't feel it.
Oh, that, look at it. Look at it.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You must believe it before you will see it.
Okay, so the second that it doesn't work, it's gonna be my fault then, right?
Do you want to know why your manifestations are not working? And do you want a super easy fix? First, why they're not working. You're saying, I'm rich, I'm this, I'm that. Your brain is rejecting it because it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And no, you're not. That's because you're dealing with the conscious brain. We got to deal with the subconscious. That's where the magic happens.
That's the blame shifting that they love to do. Oh, if it didn't work, there's a blockage in your auras. There's someone doing a hex on you that I have to get rid of. Like, there's always something that isn't them that's wrong.
That's a similarity between the spirituality world and the multi-level marketing world. It's never their fault, it's your fault. And that's a red flag to look for when it comes to spiritual practitioners. If they're always blaming other people, that's a bad sign.
Here it is. Unexpected money is on the way to me right now. The universe is always delivering me unexpected blessings. Everything I need is headed to me right now. Drop "I receive" in the comments to rapidly activate your money blessing.
Boom, there it is.
See, if you want to rapidly activate your money blessing, you gotta drop that comment down below.
Drop "I am wealthy" in the comments to rapidly activate your wealth frequency. Drop any 3 numbers to rapidly activate. Say these 3 phrases every night before you fall asleep, and you're gonna see huge results within 2 weeks. Drop "I receive" in the comments to rapidly activate. Drop "I claim this" below to rapidly activate. Drop "I receive my abundance now" and claim it as your birthright.
Everybody watching here today, if you want to rapidly activate your swag factor, drop a fire emoji in the comments to rapidly activate.
There's so many people in the comments who are claiming it in the comments, who are hoping that they can get this kind of money coming for them, because we are living in dark times for people. It is very hard to come by money very easily. And so these people, in my opinion, are here to say, just say these mantras and just do these hacks and you'll get $10,000 like I did possibly.
Are you ready to be wealthy? And I mean truly wealthy. If you're really committed, you gotta do this 24-hour experiment. You're about to get hit with a wave of abundance. I manifested a $13,000 unexpected check in the mail, and you can too. This is a super secret mantra that you have to repeat.
That's not how capitalism works. That's not how the world works. All money comes from somewhere. Free money does not exist.
If someone tells you you can get this money out of nowhere, they are lying to you.
They are fully lying to you, and they're probably trying to scam you. Actually, I'm going to say definitely trying to scam you, in my opinion. Who's next? Hey,
Last person.
Go, go, go.
The very secretive government programs here in the United States, the people at the top, they are not only interbreeded with aliens, they are actually brainwashed by aliens that are telling them exactly what to do. So you want to become a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever. I want to tell you guys how I combine high magic with low magic to fulfill all of my goals and lead me and my loved ones on a path to success. It's not a secret at this point that there are many sacrificial rituals being done by the elite in the United States and all over the world.
Auras and reptilians?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is a la race car driver lady.
Danica Patrick. Yes.
Her and Danica Patrick would be besties.
Yes. Yes. What they have in common is their belief in the Galactic Federation. They believe in shape-shifting reptilians. All of this is very conspiratorial and not true, but there are plenty of people on the internet who believe it like the gospel, and this next psychic is one of those people. And that's why we think that she's harmful, is because she's perpetuating a lot of very conspiratorial and harmful beliefs that just do not have basis in reality.
But you can best believe that the Vatican is 100% taken over by Anunnaki, okay? And the Vril is a part of the Anunnaki. She is also what we would consider an indigo child, meaning that she has come here to our Earth as a star being with an important mission for our Earth. Are the celebrities that we see that are actually cloned, are they gone? Are they passed away? Like, what happens to them? And from what I could see with my own psychic intuition is that their consciousness is extracted from them. Apparently, Prince Harry has been spending some time in MI6, which is the Central Intelligence Agency of the United Kingdom. It's also where reportedly and allegedly they make the clones. And soon after his visit, we have the Princess Catherine. Not only has Princess Catherine's aura changed, her literal features have changed. So Kate Middleton is back on the scene and she looks absolutely gorgeous, a little thin, but still beautiful.
The only basis that these conspiracies have are things like anti-Semitism, mistrust in the government, hate, etc. It's nothing based on fact.
So she claims that she can read auras.
Guys, we need to talk because somebody told you that reptilians all had dark and disgusting auras, which is not true. People have all different types of auras, whether they are Arcturian, reptilian, starseeds. It really doesn't matter. They all have different types of auras.
And you can see starseed aura too.
Apparently that means starseeds can also have bad auras. Just like the reptilians can have good auras. But how come the only ones I ever hear about are the reptilians and the starseeds? Are those the only two? Like, who are the other ones?
Human. Just regular human.
Regular. Why don't I get to be a reptilian, Lyrian alien?
Because you're not cool enough.
Am I not special enough? I want to look like that guy in Dorohedoro and just be a giant lizard person.
It's hard to take seriously, but it's very harmful what she's doing and the kind of stuff that she's spreading. Because a lot of people genuinely believe this stuff, and she has a lot of followers. She's not just somebody who has 3 followers.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, we can make jokes about it, but people genuinely believe that this is real. And we're joking about it not to make light of it, but to cope with talking about it, because this is just absolutely wild. But let's let her cook. Should we let her cook?
Now, I tell you guys all the time about energy harvesting. I tell you guys in the aura readings that some celebrities will have huge concerts or spiritual retreats, Joe Dispenza, and steal energy from other people, and that is reflected in their aura.
She just said Joe Dispenza. Wait, why did...
Look, I have problems with Joe Dispenza, but I do not think that he's harvesting people's energies.
Of all of the things I think he's doing, like, that's definitely not one of them. Like, I don't like Joe Dispenza.
No.
We are on the same wavelength with that. Don't like the man. But do I think he's putting on spiritual retreats to funnel energy from people? No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bestie. You lost me there. You lost me there. I'm kind of glad we let her go.
Yeah.
Aura. I've done aura readings on people that were doing rituals that you guys hated, so I took them off and showed you how their aura changes, okay? So the aura colors on somebody that you see on my page, they are not always 100% their aura colors, okay? Now, people...
Okay. So, you getting it? I'm getting it. I don't get it.
Okay, I totally get it.
Because I stole, like, you know, you probably...
Okay, sure. Like, it's possible that she is misattributing some other kind of visuals that she is seeing or some other kind of thought patterns that she's having to a psychic phenomena. And I just want to remind people of that. I don't think every single person who talks about aura reading is a liar, but I also don't think that all of them are actually able to see energy fields and auras. Like, I really don't. I really don't. Just to tie this all up in a little bow, we found a source from AARP that goes into psychic scams, some of the warning signs of these scams, and ways that you can protect yourself from these scams.
There is a list of 3 warning signs that they include, and these are: a psychic guarantees outcomes they have no control over, such as good health, a financial windfall, or a new romance.
The psychic keeps finding new things wrong with you or your life that they promise to help you with for a fee.
Finally, the psychic says something bad will happen to you or your loved ones if you don't pay for their help.
Something else that this article mentions that we didn't talk about too much is that some of these supposed psychics will book reading people, they'll collect the payment up front, and then they'll break off contact and never provide the service. This is especially prevalent on social media. There will be people who will be like, "Hello dear, how are you doing? I'd like to do a reading for you." And then they'll get the payment up front and then they'll never actually do the reading.
So like we said at another point in the video, we're not saying that the little shops on the side of the road can't also scam you, but it is a lot easier to set up a social media account to scam people through Venmo than through seeing someone face to face. Something that I liked about this source is that it tells us how to protect ourselves from these scams, as well as telling us the warning signs. The first one being, talk to someone you trust before getting services from a psychic. If you are in a place of desperation, maybe someone else can help you see things that you may not have seen.
Sometimes psychics will also try to isolate you and say, don't talk to any about this. So it's good if you can do that before you make a relationship with somebody, just in case, so that you can't be guilted into not talking to somebody because you already did. The next thing on this list is asking up front what the total costs for the services will be, if there's any ongoing costs or conditions for these services as well.
It's important also to pay attention to social media reviews and online comments for the psychic service provider that you are going to use. Like we said before, social media is very, very big, and there's a lot of information out there. Do your due diligence and do your research, whether it be as a source for a paper or for a tarot reading. I always suggest you do your due diligence and your research into who you're getting this from.
Something very important is to never share details about your finances or to give access to any credit card information or bank account information. Pay them in a way where they do not need to have access to any of those kinds of things, because some people have had charges on their cards that have had nothing to do with anything because of giving their information to somebody that was not trustworthy. And that goes for people who are so-called psychics or not.
Another important thing is to not succumb to pressure to pay for services that weren't agreed upon up front, because like we've said, these psychics love to, once they hook you in with the tiny little 3-card tarot reading, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, I sense a spiritual blockage and you need to do my 5-day course and this and that and yada, yada, yada. No, if that is not what you agreed to do when you paid this person, no.
If this is somebody who actually cares about you and your well-being, they're not going to try to pressure you into paying for more things that you didn't agree to or that you're not going to be able to pay for. And finally, like we said before, do not comply if one of these psychic service providers tells you to keep these interactions secret. There is no reason that you need to keep it secret. You can tell someone who you trust, let them know that this is something that you're interested in, and you can even tell them, it's okay if you don't agree with me going, I just need somebody else to know that this is happening. Woo! Okay, well that was a lot. If you really stuck with us through all of that, you get a certificate that will be sent to you in the astral mail. So
it will be found up your ass and to the left. I'm sorry, astral mail was right there. It was right there.
Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with us. If you could leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, let us know your thoughts. If any of these people that we reacted to deserve their own video and more content, just let us know what you're thinking.
I'm not gonna talk anymore. We've talked enough. Have a good one. Bye.